My name is Mr. Sibake from OP TVET College, Rustenburg campus. Today I'm going to do Business Practice Level 4, and those who are doing Business Practice Level 3, they are also welcome to be part of this presentation, as it is going to cover some important aspects of their syllabus, meaning that we are going to pit multiple birds, if not two, with one stone. So our topic of today will be business environment. But before we go into details, we can learn that our topic consists with two key words. The first word is business, followed by environment. So now I want us quickly to explore them so that we'll be able to come up with the best explanation of what is the business environment. So the word business comes from the word busy, meaning that business is an organization where people work together to make and sell products or services in order to generate the revenue. Well, the environment is a space or condition that business operates in. Through the given explanation, we can learn that business do not operate in a vacuum. They operate in an open system or environment. And they are affected or influenced by situations, events, groups, and the companies. For example, as the whole world is under difficult conditions because of COVID-19, some other companies are not allowed to trade. And when business are not operating, there will be loss of income, and not only to the business, but also to individuals. So now let me take you back to 2010. In 2010, South Africa was host Soccer World Cup, and many people from all over the world flocked to South Africa to witness the best world soccer. And that impacted positively to tourism industry and other businesses. So now one can ask, what is the business environment? Business environment is sum total of external and internal factors that influences businesses. You should keep in mind that external factors and internal factors can influence each other and work together to affect the business. For example, health and safety regulation is an external factor that influences the internal environment of the business operation. Additionally, some external factors are beyond our control. These factors often called external constraints. So now, let's take a look at some components of business environments. And I want you to remember that we have three components of business environments. And also, we have two types of internal influences. So let's take a look at the components of business environments. Then the first component is microenvironment, followed by market environment. Lastly, microenvironment. So now, students, I want us to explore these environments. So we are going to start with microenvironments. So when we are talking about microenvironment, it's the same as we are talking about internal business environments of a business. So therefore, the internal business environment includes all factors that are within the business. And these factors are as follows: mission statement, functions of the business, factors of production, the management task and strategy of the organization. So now, let us explain all these factors. In short, mission statement is mission statement is the reason why organization exists, or is a document that contains the goal of the organization. And obviously, the goal of each and every business is to maximize reasonable profit or aid in charitable cause. So now one again can ask, what is the function of the business? Function of the business are the activities carried out by an organization in order to reach the goals or different roles that the departments plays. These functions are as follows. General management function. And the responsibility of this function is to ensure that the business is running properly. Followed by purchasing function. So the question is, what is the responsibility of purchasing function? Obviously, the responsibility of purchasing function is to ensure that there is enough stock available to sell, or there is enough resources available to provide the services. Number 3, marketing function. What is the marketing function? The responsibility of marketing function is nothing other than to get the right product or services to the right customer for the right price at the right time and place. And again, we have financial function. The responsibility of financial function is to manage all the money of the business, if not the organization. And again, we have human resource function. What is the responsibility of this function, students? The responsibility of this function, obviously, is to do the recruitment or recruit the new employees and training. And again, we have public relations. If not PR. What is the responsibility of this function? Obviously, is to promote the positive image of the business. Lastly, we have administrative function. So let us look at the responsibility of administrative function. Obviously, is to keep the documents, such as invoices and receipts, for the future references. So now I want us to talk about factors of production. What are we referring to when we are talking about factors of production? So when we are talking about factors of productions, we are talking about the resources or inputs that is being used in the production process to produce output or desired results, such as the following: natural resources, capital, if not capital, labor, and entrepreneur. So now let me hear from you. How can we explain all these factors of productions? Obviously, when we are talking about natural resources, we are talking about all the resources that have been taken from the nature, such as land and water. And these resources are not man-made. Capital. Capital is the money and asset that the business has. Labor. Obviously, labor is the employee or people who do the work in the organization. Entrepreneurship. What is the entrepreneurship, students? Entrepreneurship is the process of joining these production factors and make them work well together. So now I want us to talk about the management task and the strategy of the organization. What really are we referring to when we are talking about the management task and strategy of the organization? The management task and strategy of the organizations includes all activities that business needs in order to deal with the influences and challenges to achieve the goal of the organization, such as the following: mission statement, function of the organization, and factors of productions. So now let us move and talk about external environment. And student, I want you to bear in mind that always when we are talking about the external, you must always think about something that is happening outside. So when we are talking about external environment, obviously is composed of all the outside factors or influences that impact the operation of the business. In this case, the business must act or react to keep up its flow of operation. So now, they say the external environment is divided into two components and are the following: market environment, macro environment. So now let us have a look of what really are we referring to when we are talking about the market and macro environment. So market environment is made of individuals and organizations that the business deal with regularly. This environment affects the daily operation of the business, such as the following elements: consumer, labor market, supplier, lastly, intermediaries. So now I want us to explore all these elements of market environments. So the first element is consumer. Then the question is, what is the consumer? Obviously, consumer are the people or organization that purchases product or services. And this group is the most important part of the market environment because they can make the business succeed or fail. If the business has no customer, it cannot survive, of which is true. The second element is labor market. What is the labor market, ladies and gentlemen? Labor market is made up of all the suitable people from whom a business can choose its employee. And every business needs people to perform the work. Then unfortunately, when the prospective employer looks for the people that they can do the work, he don't find them, he don't get them. Why? It means there is a problem. So now let us look at the problems at the labor market. So now, what is the labor market, ladies and gentlemen? Labor market is made up of all the suitable people from whom business can choose its employee. Every business needs people to perform the work, of which is true. So the question is, are you ready to do the job after the completion of your studies? If not, it means there is problems. So now let us look at those problems that we can find in the labor market. So the first problem is skill shortage. So the question is, what is the skill shortage? Obviously, when we are talking about skill shortage, we are talking about a situation whereby there is not enough people who are educated or acquires the skills needed to execute the task. Second problem is brain drain. In this case, the immigration of highly trained or qualified people from particular country. In simple language, when we are talking about brain drain, we are talking about a situation whereby most of educated people, they are leaving their country in search of green pastures in foreign countries. Number 3, we have supplier. The question is, what is the supplier? Supplier refers to a person or organization that provides something that is needed, such as product or services. It is important for the business to have a good relationship with supplier, as the good relationship helps to get the best deal. Lastly, we have intermediaries. What are we referring to when we are talking about intermediaries? Intermediaries is the process that links the originator of the product with the end user, or the businesses that help to move the product from the organization to its customers. And intermediaries includes the following, ladies and gentlemen: manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, and the customer. So now I want us to look at the responsibility of each intermediaries. So the responsibility of manufacturer obviously is to do the production. Then the question is, what will happen with the production that they have made? Are they going to store and fold up their arms? Obviously no. They are going to transport them to wholesaler. And the wholesaler will sell them in bulk to retailer or spaza shop. And the retailer will sell them directly to the customer for consumption. So now let us do the third components, of which is microenvironment. So what are we referring to when we are talking about microenvironment? Macroenvironment is the condition that exists in the economy as a whole, rather than in a particular sector or region. In general, the macroenvironments includes the following: political environment, technological environment, socio-cultural environment, economic environment. So now I want us to explore them. So political environment, they say are the government activities and political conditions that may affect your business. For examples of political environment, it includes laws, regulation, tariffs, and other trade barriers, and social unrest. So now let us move to the second element of microenvironments, of which is technological environment. Technological environment are the technological innovation that can either benefit or hurt your business. For example, some technological innovation can increase your productivity and profit margin, such as computer software and automated production. On the other hand, some technological innovation poses an existential threat to business, such as internet streaming, challenging DVD rental business. Number 3, we have socio-cultural environment. Socio-cultural environment are basically sociological factors related to general society and social relations that affect your business. Social factors include social movements, such as environmental movement, as well as changes in fashion and consumer preferences. Lastly, we have economic environment. What is the economic environment, ladies and gentlemen? Economic environment includes everything relating to the circulation, if not flow of money. And the economic environment differ from country to country, and they are influenced by the following economic system. The first one is capitalist economy, or the first system is capitalist economy. So this is the question. What comes in your mind when we are saying so and so is capitalist? Obviously, when we are talking about capitalist, then we are talking about the people who are orientated by profit. Capitalism economics focuses on making a profit. Secondly, socialist economy. Then what is the socialist economy? Then in this case, the government or state owns and distributes the wealth of the country. Lastly, we have communist economies. What is the communist economy? In this case, the public owns all the property, meaning that the public own everything, and each person expected to work for the community. So now I want us to look at the conditions that they affected the economy. The first condition that can affect our economy or the economy of the world is interest rates. What is the interest rate? The interest rate obviously is the amount that bank charges when it lends money to a person or business. Secondly, we have exchange rates. What is the exchange rate? Then in this case, it's the same as we are talking about war of currencies, or the value of country's currency as compared to that of another country. Thirdly, we have inflation. So most of the people, they used to say when we are talking about inflation, they think about fluctuations of prices, of which is not correct. Because when we are talking about fluctuation, we are talking about something that goes up and down. But when we are talking about inflation, then we are talking about the situation whereby the money or the prices keeps on increasing. Lastly, we have the recession. Then in this case, we are talking about the period of temporary economic decline, and during which trade and industrial activities are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 successive quarters. So now, we are about to conclude, but before that, I want us to look at the characteristics of business environment. Business environment, it changes continually. And business environment present threats and opportunities. And they also influences the existence and development of a business. It again influences the stability and future of the business. Lastly, it regulates scope of the business. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, so it is clear that no business can function in isolation. Each one is locked into complex network of relationship with stakeholders and are subjected to law and must work within the country's legal framework in order to succeed. So lastly, let me take this opportunity and thank you. And together we can make it to the end. And I wish you all the best. I thank you.